Imagine hearing a strange sound outside your home. Late at night, nobody else hears it. Everything becomes quiet. Then your brain asks one question. What was
My first instinct would be to look outside, or assume someone is there, even if I wasn't sure.
So, exactly. Most people think the brain's job is finding the truth. But what if that's not its highest priority? What if your brain cares about something even more important?
More important than the truth? That sounds impossible. What could possibly matter more?
Certainty. Because throughout almost all of human history, uncertainty was one of the most dangerous situations a human could experience. Imagine living 100,000 years ago. No walls, no police, no electric lights, just a small fire and complete darkness. You hear movement in the bushes. You don't know if it's the wind, a deer, or a predator. You only have seconds to react. Waiting for perfect information may cost your life.
So if my ancestors guessed wrong, at least they stayed alive. If they waited too long, they might never get another chance.
Side A. Natural selection favored brains that made fast decisions, not perfect ones. Sometimes they wasted energy. Sometimes they ran away unnecessarily. But they survived. That ancient survival system still exists today. The predators changed, the uncertainty didn't, and your brain still hates not knowing.
But uncertainty isn't always dangerous anymore. Most of the time it's just not knowing. Waiting for a reply, meeting someone new, making a decision. Why would my brain still react so strongly?
Because evolution is remarkably slow. Your environment transformed in only a few thousand years. Your brain was shaped over hundreds of thousands. It still solves modern problems using ancient software. To your brain, uncertainty still feels like a potential threat. Think about waiting for a medical test, a job interview, an important message. Notice what your mind does. It doesn't stay neutral. It immediately begins inventing explanations. Almost anything feels better than knowing nothing.
That's true. When I don't know what's happening, my brain starts writing stories, usually bad ones.
Side S. Side S. Because the brain is a prediction machine, empty space makes it uncomfortable, so it fills the gaps. Sometimes with logic, sometimes with imagination, sometimes with fear, but rarely with silence. Psychologists have known for decades that humans naturally dislike uncertainty, not because uncertainty is always dangerous, but because uncertainty prevents the brain from making predictions. And prediction is what the brain was built to do.
So uncertainty isn't just the absence of answers, it's the absence of prediction. And that's what feels uncomfortable.
Exactly. Your brain constantly asks, what happens next? The moment it cannot answer that question, stress begins to rise. Not because something bad has happened, but because something could happen. This explains something strange about modern life. People often refresh their email, check their phone, reload social media. Not because new information is guaranteed, but because uncertainty itself feels uncomfortable. The brain keeps searching for certainty, and perhaps that's the first place where certainty becomes dangerous, because once the brain desperately wants an answer, almost any answer can start feeling better than no answer at all.
Is that why conspiracy theories spread so easily? People seem to prefer a strange explanation, rather than admitting they simply don't know.
Many psychologists believe uncertainty creates a powerful psychological tension. The brain wants a complete story, a beginning, a cause, an ending. When those pieces are missing, it starts searching desperately for them. Sometimes that search leads to science. Sometimes it leads to discovery. Sometimes it leads to remarkable breakthroughs. But sometimes it leads somewhere else entirely. The first explanation that feels complete, even if it isn't true.
So my brain isn't necessarily asking, is this correct? It's asking, can I finally stop wondering?
Seg. Certainty is emotionally rewarding. Your brain loves reaching conclusions. Every solved puzzle reduces uncertainty. Every explanation feels like relief. That's why people often become attached to beliefs, long before those beliefs have been tested. This ancient instinct explains far more than most people realize. Superstitions, rumors, urban legends, financial bubbles, political polarization, even everyday misunderstandings. The brain naturally reaches for certainty.
That also explains arguments. Sometimes people aren't defending the truth, they're defending certainty. Changing their mind would mean returning to uncertainty, and uncertainty feels worse.
Precisely. Once the brain becomes emotionally ached to an explanation, contradictory evidence can begin to feel threatening. Not because the evidence is dangerous, but because it reopens uncertainty. The ancient brain would often rather protect certainty than restart the search. Perhaps this is one of humanity's greatest strengths, and one of its greatest weaknesses. The need for certainty helped our ancestors survive. It helped them make decisions quickly. It helped them act before it was too late. But in the modern world, that same instinct can sometimes convince us that confidence is the same as truth. And perhaps that is the real mystery. Your brain doesn't always search for the correct answer. It first searches for an answer that feels safe. Because somewhere inside your ancient mind, being certain once meant surviving. The challenge of modern life is learning that sometimes, "I don't know yet," is the bravest answer your brain can give.
So every time I become absolutely certain, I should probably stop and ask myself one question. Am I following the evidence? Or am I simply escaping uncertainty?
Exactly. Curiosity begins where certainty ends. Science exists because people were willing to say, "I don't know." Every great discovery in human history began with uncertainty, not certainty. Perhaps that is why real intelligence often sounds different from confidence. The smartest people are usually comfortable changing their minds. They revise, adapt, question. They understand that certainty is comforting, but truth is often more complicated.
That's surprisingly difficult, because admitting you don't know almost feels like losing.
To your ancient brain, it sometimes does. For hundreds of thousands of years, hesitation carried real danger. Today, however, the greatest danger may be refusing to question a conclusion simply because it feels comfortable. Modern life rewards certainty. Algorithms promote certainty. Politics rewards certainty. Social media rewards certainty. But reality rarely offers. The world is often far more uncertain than our brains want to believe.
Maybe that's why two intelligent people can look at the same evidence and reach completely different conclusions. They're not only evaluating the facts, they're trying to satisfy the same ancient need for certainty.
Perhaps one of the greatest human abilities isn't finding answers. It's learning to live with unanswered questions, to remain curious, to keep exploring, to resist closing the case too early. That may be one of the hardest things the modern brain can do. The next time you catch yourself jumping to a conclusion, notice what happens. Is your brain searching for the truth, or simply searching for relief? Sometimes those are the same thing. Sometimes they are completely different. And perhaps that is the most dangerous thing your brain does every day. Not because prediction is bad, not because certainty is evil, but because certainty can feel exactly like truth, even when it isn't. The moment you learn to question that feeling, you begin seeing the world differently. Every day, your ancient brain quietly solves thousands of problems before you even notice them. Most of the time, those instincts protect you. Sometimes, they quietly mislead you. If this story changed the way you think about certainty, choose one of the videos on screen, because certainty is only one of the hidden instincts still shaping modern human life, and we've only just begun uncovering them.